What's up, guys? I'm Dexter Jacobs. This is Indie Comic Ninjas Indie Tuesday, and along with me is
Andrew Southern,
Ramondo Burnside,
Ben Dupé.
And this week we have a whole bunch of books we're covering. I think I know for sure we have the first volume of Black Science. Don't know why I couldn't remember that. I think there was God Country number two, which was fantastic.
super juicy.
Just a bit of a teaser there. What else were we reading?
Motor Crush number 3 and Green Valley number 5.
Motor Crush is only on number 3.
It is,
I felt like that should have been 4 or 5.
Yeah.
A lot of content in those first two, I guess.
I feel like it should be done. I'm tired of reading it.
I didn't even get to that one. I ended up reading Violent Love, actually.
I didn't read that, but I'm glad you did.
Yeah,
so
it's good. Yeah,
cross
for sure.
combo.
So what was going on with people for the last 2 weeks, I guess?
Yeah, so sorry about missing that last week. I was in San Diego, and I forced everybody to be on hold while I enjoyed the beautiful sunshine.
Well, how was San Diego, though?
Oh, it was great, man. I have my sister-in-law lives there, so we walked 12 miles every day just because it was so nice, and it's winter here in the Midwest. So
winter here.
Where were you?
Beautiful.
I know it is right now.
Where were you in San Diego? I guess near downtown-ish?
Yeah,
or?
we were not far from Little Italy. If you know.
Oh
where
yeah,
that is.
yeah.
So,
We when I went down there for Comic-Con, we stopped there because we got an Airbnb.
Yep.
On the other side of Little Italy or whatever that was called. And we stopped there on for their farmers market.
Oh yeah,
which
we went to the farmer.
fantastic.
It's so good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so if anybody there's so many things to see there that it's just I would recommend everybody go.
Did you go kayaking in the ocean or anything?
We didn't go in the ocean because I didn't want to fall over, but we went. There's a little bay next to it on the other side, and so this is dumb, but maybe the coolest thing is I went there 2 years ago, and there's this taco shop that I never remember the name. When I go on vacation with my wife, she doesn't like to eat out, and so I'm starving, because she doesn't understand how male body works. And so anyway, last time we went, I ran into this taco shop, and I was super pissed because it was 3 o'clock and I hadn't eaten, which was 5 o'clock
so you were
Central
hangry.
Time. I was hangry, man, full on rage.
Looking like Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah, seriously. And I ran into this taco shop that also had French fries, which is my jam.
Oh wow.
So
nice.
And I couldn't get the name of it. So anyway, we randomly ran into it again last week, and I smashed down some delicious tacos and French fries, and it was fantastic.
But now you know
the name of it. Though.
No, I took a picture so I remember.
Okay.
It's La Playa Taco Shop. It's just called Taco Shop. So
I've been getting into some good tacos too, man.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever been to More Tacos before?
No. Is that local or where?
MOAR?
Yeah, MOAR Tacos.
Oh, good. I was gonna say it better be MOAR.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's downtown. I started working downtown this week, and
which congrats, by the way.
Thanks.
We should do lunch
it's a lot of
sometime.
fun.
I'm downtown.
Oh, are you? Yeah. I'm at Locust and 5th, so
I'm off 3rd. So
everything's close downtown.
Yeah.
But yeah, More Tacos, man. There's this little place it's in a basement of a shopping center, and they close at 2 p.m. every day. There's a really good Indian place and a really good taco place, and oh man, dude,
that is,
so
I
much
think.
good food there.
I
I had
it's a
tacos.
little 2-story little shopping center, isn't it?
Sort of, yeah. And then there's
skywalks go to it.
Yep, and then there's a food court in the basement.
Yep.
Oh, I avoid that place because it's always busy.
Yeah.
There's a reason it's always
there's
busy.
crack
It's
tacos there.
amazing.
That
It
place
sounds like
is
it.
insane.
Well, because I walk right through there, basically, but on the second floor to get to Capes from where I work, because I always take the sidewalk.
Yeah.
super interesting for the listeners, I bet.
Yeah.
I know, right? Yeah.
For
all
us.
all you non-Des Moines.
They're like, we love tacos too, but we can't go.
We can't get it.
Go to your local taco place.
There you go.
Indie
how we
Comic
tie it
Ninjas.
together.
And say we sent you.
Yeah. They'll be like, what?
Let's just take some pictures of us eating tacos and then post them.
We're
There
your
you go.
culinary podcast. That's what we bring.
Yeah,
to the
we're also
table.
a taco reviewer. So.
Yes.
Oh,
we
we
are.
should totally read.
That would be a hyper specific pod. We are your
Yes.
taco review podcast. We review tacos only.
I think there's a following for it.
Hard
Probably.
hard
This is
shell
untapped.
Wednesday, soft shell Sunday.
This is
Oh my
this is
gosh,
an untapped
yeah.
resource.
Seriously, we're in a corner of the market there.
Yeah.
I wonder what our sponsors would be for that.
Yeah.
This show
there's
is
a
not
lot,
sponsored by Taco Bell. They hate us.
Oh.
Oh man.
So Mondo, what have you been up to?
Gosh, everything.
Eating tacos.
Yeah. Well, they sound delicious now. I mean, I wish.
Yeah, Mongo's like.
I wish I would have skipped lunch.
Oh yeah. Sorry, man.
We're all like talking food, and Mondo's like, I'm starving.
My stomach's
dudes.
like, fuck you, man. Fuck you, bro. Yeah, no, just gaming, man. Trying to finish up Resident Evil 7.
Nice.
That's.
Are you playing that on VR now?
Back and forth. I can't handle it too much.
Yeah.
like it's a lot. I'm getting more used to it, but the jumps they get me so good. Like I'll go out of the doorway and I'll peek out and go back in. I'll peek out. It's like I feel like a damn like gopher or something.
Yeah.
It's like it's so scary.
That's how real life would be.
Man, but just that and some other games that came out recently, For Honor and some other stuff. But other than that, man, just trying to maintain and balance everything, family, all that good stuff. So
cool.
You know,
Hear that, man.
shows.
Yeah, I started a new job where I'm doing graphic design work, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I don't hate every day now, so it's pretty sweet, man. I gotta be honest. What else? Andrew and I are working on a comic book. We talked a little bit about how we're gonna logistically be doing that. We're not quite there yet with figuring it out, but we're getting there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think
Are you planning on Kickstartering it?
Yep, we're not quite.
Well,
there.
yeah, I mean that's the way.
We don't exactly
We're
know
not
how,
sure
but
how we want it. Like we're trying to talk about. We were like, well, we want to do like a 24-page issue, but that's a lot to take on, for art wise and also storyboarding and we really want to provide good content. We want it to be good. We don't want to half-ass anything. So we're talking about possibly doing like maybe 4 6-page like shorts that build into
like a volume or
that
something
we'll release into one issue, one 24-page issue. But so far right now, the only solid thing that we have on it is Skateboarding Heroes is what it's going to be about. So Skiros is what
I'm
it's
excited
to
to hear more about this, dude.
it's cool, man.
Seriously.
Ben started scripting it out, and I've just started doing some character development on it. So we'll share it as it comes along for sure.
Yeah, got a couple really cool style sheets, man. He drew, like, the thing about it is like I didn't want to make a comic book just with a friend just because it was my friend. But like I had written this story that like your artwork really suits. Like that's kind of what I was looking.
Well,
for.
like we're both, yeah. Well, we're both kind of like into the skate punk vibe, So
when I was looking for more of a playful style of illustration, which you're great at, so it was kind of great the way it all lined up. So
We'll pull out the stogies and you love when a plan comes together. Right?
Oh yeah. Evil villains.
I'm sure at the end of it we'll have a smoke or a drink or something.
Yeah, something like
Let
that.
me know.
Yeah.
I'd love to be down with that.
For sure.
Hell yeah, man. It'll be the first like indie comic book to come out of Indie Tuesdays. So that'll be cool. Hopefully the first of many. So
nice.
Yeah. So we are like 8 minutes in and we just talked about our first comic book. That was cool.
Inadvertently just snuck it in.
First of all, Tom,
I mentioned them at the beginning.
Yes, we talked about them.
The back door.
What have you been up to, Dexter?
What have I been up to? Not a lot. I guess I guess that leads into a little bit. I've been really getting into the website Comic Central, which is in public beta now. So everyone should go over to COMIXCENTRAL. And so it's still beta, so they're working out some bugs, but there's like some blogging that can go on, instructable type things that you can do. You can like look into other people having instructions on like ways to make comics. There's a lot of blogs about people blogging about their process and stuff. But then you can also sell PDFs of your comics, so you can have a little market on there and sell your stuff. So it's all just digital right now as far as sales, but there's a lot going on there. So it looks like a pretty cool website. I'm really into it. So
yeah, that's great.
Newer company then?
Yeah. I mean, they just started working on this website last year. Like at the end of the year, they had an Indiegogo last fall, getting it all set up and stuff. So I think it's going to be supposed to be launching next month, I think. So I mean,
awesome.
That stuff always kind of gets pushed back sometimes when you're developing a website. So, but no, I'm excited about it just as a good marketplace for indie creators. It's all indie focused. So
okay,
nice.
That. And then for people too in the Des Moines area, I just ran into somebody who has a comic book like club, I guess, where they just kind of get together and read comics. And they just did Wicked and Divine like right after we covered it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then
what are they? Do they have a name for this group?
I think it's just like the Des Moines comic book.
So is it like a kind of like a book club? Like
they do,
read it
yeah.
ahead of time, meet up, and just hang out and talk about it. Okay,
and then like what we do, except without microphones.
Yeah, well, and they do one trade every 2 weeks, basically. So I think it's the first and the third Thursday. I think it's on Thursdays. Yeah, this is the first and third Thursday of the month. So the next one's March 2nd and then March 16th. And I don't know what comic they're covering. Let's see, they did. So the last one they did was Wicked on the Vine. The one before that was Bitch Planet. And so then Habibi? Is that a comic? That must be. So I think that's the next one they're covering. I'm not 100% sure.
Cool.
I can put a link in the show notes to like their Facebook page.
Great.
Nice, man. I want to go.
So you have to be in the Des Moines area, I suppose. So sorry, guys that aren't in the Des Moines area.
But if you aren't in the Des Moines area,
come on down.
Well, no.
Well, start a comic book club up, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say in other areas there's probably comic book clubs everywhere. So I mean, if you like what we talk about, if you're listening to us talk about it, go out there, get social with people, man.
Yeah, well, and send us a link too, or let us know, tweet at us when and where it is, and we can do a shout out on here.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Let people know if they're in your area and listening.
See, that stuff's so cool, though, man.
Yeah.
People get together. I mean, everybody geeks on something, whether it be, like us with comic books or me with games or sports, whatever, do what you do and get together with people that love that stuff, too.
Yeah.
And nerd out together, man. I mean, why not? Life's short, and take the stuff you enjoy and enjoy it to the max, I say.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and, like, I think as nerds, too, we have a tendency to, like, a lot of nerds have a tendency. We love media, we love comic books, video games, movies, and we have a tendency to get kind of antisocial with it and get really enveloped in what we're doing and do it by ourselves.
Yeah.
So like for me, when I started this, I didn't start this when I started podcasting, it was really cool to like see people like come together and like talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I was really kind of antisocial and introverted and stuff, and this got me kind of out of my shell and stuff. So it's pretty cool, man. I look forward to it every week. So
yeah.
And that's basically what we do, man. Is a book club. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about books. So
where's the wine?
Yeah, I know, right?
Where's my Riesling?
Yeah.
My white wine.
It's funny because
I'll bring some next week.
Oh, you should. I'll laugh my ass off.
It'll be plastic cups though.
Yeah, plastic cups.
That's how my wife's book club
Don't
is.
stain the carpet, Mondo.
Wine in plastic cups.
Oh man. That'd be funny. Somebody should bring wine seriously, though. I'll crack the fuck up.
Okay. All right. I got you.
Hilarious.
All right.
So what's the Jimmy Jam?
Books. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to talk books?
Yeah. Let's talk books. Let's get into
point.
it.
Let's save the best for last. Black Science. Let's save that for last.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
That was.
Should we do Violent Love first then?
Why not?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Ramondo's the only one who read it.
Yeah. Violent Love. Well, I mean, it was a quick read. I mean, they typically are. They've all been that way. This is volume 4, I believe. It pretty much starts out with Ramon's mother, and they're at a funeral, and she is pissed off. She's like, you guys mutilated my boy. This is not going to stand. The streets are going to run red with blood. Someone's paying for this shit. So yeah, and the cop from the very first book who was talking to the little girl, the old man. He was at this funeral, apparently, as a young man. He looked like, I guess he was like a young sheriff back then or something like that. And he was there, and he said it was the most terrifying thing he happened to bear witness to. Excuse me. And so it goes back to him talking to the little girl, and he's like, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. And he starts kind of telling the story, and it goes back to, I forget the guy's name, Rock. Excuse me. He is showing Daisy how to shoot a gun and everything, and she's pissy as usual and angry, and just like he's trying to wrangle her in a little bit and show her how to shoot a gun. Casanova, the guy who she was dating earlier, sees it, and he gets a little frustrated, thinking that Rock's trying to move in on his lady, and he goes off on Daisy and all this stuff. And he's like, "Oh, you open up to this guy that you don't even know, but then I've been with you for this months and whatnot, and you haven't opened up to me not once, So he didn't really angry at her. He ends up leaving, and him and Rock have a few words. He tells him to back off. So he goes, and basically it just kind of ties everything together with him going to a payphone and calling up someone who is related to the gang that they just murdered, basically, and saying, hey, I have information on the guy who killed Ramon. You might want this information. And he sounds like he's going to be selling them out, pretty much, and the story's going to kick into high gear.
Cool. We're approaching the kind of climax of the story. Then we're on volume 4 or issue 4, so I'm assuming it's going to be like a 6-issue story arc. So it'll really max out here in the next issue.
I'm hoping so. Something pay off here, cause
a
lot of foreplay.
Yeah, I know. Right? Yeah. What did you think about this?
I mean, not a whole lot happened. I mean, it gave you a little bit more idea with the characters, especially with Rock, since he wasn't in the first 2 or 3, really. The third one a little bit, but this one he was kind of took the center stage a little bit more. It was fine. I mean, it wasn't anything horrible or bad or anything like that, but it didn't really do a whole lot either. I think it's just setting up is all it's doing, really. So it was fine. I mean, it was just more to get you to the next area, I would say, to the next part of the story.
I had some problems. I literally just read through it now while you were talking about it.
Power read.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about something I have no idea about, like a dick. But
Let's hear it.
It's weird because I have issues with some of the art, but some of it I really like. Like I really like these like outlines, sort of, or
the silhouettes.
Yeah,
it reminds me a lot of the Super Sons book that's out in DC right now, and that actually goes back to like Frank Miller stuff.
Yeah,
like The Dark Knight Returns, which was one of the, in my opinion, one of the best Batman stories ever written, where he'd do like silhouettes of Batman jumping across buildings and stuff. So that was really cool to see those high contrast shots. But then there's other parts of the story that I see that I don't know, man. Like some of the art's just hard to wrap my head around.
It even looked a little like, I don't want to say blurry, but just slightly out of focus in a way. I don't know if it's because I was on a tablet or what. Maybe in print it would pop a little bit more, but I definitely understand what you're getting at.
Like this right here.
Like when she's holding Ramon's dead body at the funeral.
Like that. I just can't really wrap my head around that being good. Or I don't know. I don't like it.
Right.
But I don't know. What do you... You're kind of looking at it too. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I remember from the other issues just kind of not super being into the art. It's just not my bag.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
no. I mean, like I said, it was okay for what it was going for. I mean, art wise, I definitely agree with you on that stuff. But I mean, story wise, it didn't do anything, and it didn't really help me either. It was just kind of like, this is just a bridge to the next thing.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah.
It's very much of like I feel like it's I don't know, like you have to be into those like old school sort of romance crime stories to really like it. And I don't know, man. I've never really read a comic like this before. I know I like some of the movies, but others I really can't get into. So I don't know. This was kind of a toss-up for me. It's not something that I don't think I'm going to continue reading it. I don't know. I might see this story arc through to the end. We'll see. We'll see what else.
If you post up more of the previews and whatnot, and I have some free time, I may just bang through it real quick because it's only like 30 pages or something like that. So I may keep reading just for the hell of it, but otherwise, I'm hoping that all this foreplay pays off.
Cool. Star rating?
10. I would probably say maybe like a 6.
Yes, I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah. Just of like, and I'm just saying that of what I've read of the story arc so far. Sure. So the first 4 issues, I give a 6. I don't know. So yeah, cool, awesome. Did anyone read God Country?
Yeah,
yeah,
that was a great read.
It was good.
It was fun. It was
did
really
not go
good.
where I was expecting.
No, not at all. I thought they were gonna battle, dude. Not to get ahead of ourselves or anything.
No.
Did so? Who read the first one? Because I know I was the only one that read it at the time. You were the only one that read it
first, I thought.
Yeah.
And then we all jumped on the second one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Andrew, you read it?
I did not. Not this week, no.
Okay. Well, in the first issue, this old man with dementia, or Alzheimer's, rather, got powers. Not really powers. Like, a tornado came and swept up his family's house, and somehow out of the deal, he ends up with like a god's giant sword and kills this like creature that was at the center of the tornado.
Oh, right.
I think.
Yeah, I remember this.
Something like that.
And the family's all like kind of freak the fuck out. Like, hey, why do you have a giant sword? And like now you remember things and stuff, and you don't have Alzheimer's anymore. And the guy's just like stoked about it, man. He's super happy about the fact that he can remember things, which who wouldn't be?
Right.
So, like, this issue picks up where they're just kind of reeling after this all happened, and Gramps, like, remembers things or whatever, and that's pretty cool. But they're kind of bummed that their house is all broken apart. So Gramps just kind of, like, puts the house back together with the will of his mind or whatever.
Well, it's with the sword.
Well,
the sword's power.
Yeah, but, like, yeah. And that's really cool. But then this giant warrior comes who looks like he came from like Asgard or something. Like he's just like this giant, like, you know, like probably twice as tall as me, but you know, twice as buff as
huge.
Whoever.
Looked like he was like a story or two tall, man.
Yeah.
So he comes and he tells the old man, like, hey, you got something that belongs to me. And the old man's like, how about you go on and get the fuck off my property, buddy? And he points the sword at the guy, and then the sword starts to talk to this guy and says, like, kneel. And the sword's like, I've chosen this person as my host or my master to be the person that wields me. And so I guess the deal is that this big buff dude wants this sword from the old man. The dude is a messenger, right?
No, he's the son of like the Allfather, which isn't what they call him, but basically, like, essentially, if you were to translate this into Thor, this guy he's the god of war, so he's kind of like Thor,
Ares type thing.
And then and so he's just come to retrieve the sword, and the sword is like, it's the spirit of all swords. So, like, even at one point, the old man was like, so it's like Excalibur. And he's like, no, it is Excalibur. And it's also all the swords ever.
So it's like the spirit of every awesome sword that ever existed.
More or less.
In one giant fucking
and I think it's
sword.
kind of like it has the memories of every sword, like, kind of thing. So, like, anybody who's ever been killed by a sword, like, this sword has that, like, experience in it. And then this guy himself, too, he says, like, that he's the god of war, and so every battle that's ever been fought, he can remember. And he said, just like my brother, everything that's like death and dying, like he is a part of. So he, like, clearly,
so he's super connected to this sword. I mean,
yeah. Well, and the sword was forged by his father in the heart of a dying universe, or something like that, is what they said.
That's pretty epic.
Yeah.
It's a very epic read, like, and so
Which is funny how epic of a read it is, because it's then the rest of it is just those two guys just kind of chatting.
Yeah, like this god of war tells the guy, like, hey, I want that sword back, and the guy's like, well, this sword cured my Alzheimer's. I can remember things now. So if I give this back to you, am I going to go back to how I was? And the god was like, yeah, you will. And he's like, well, I'm not giving you the sword then.
We'll pass.
So the god of war is like, all right, I'm gonna go back to my father and let him know that you're not gonna give me the sword. Do you have a message for my father?
Oh, this is the best.
This is the best part. So then the next sequence shows this guy traveling back across the astral plane, arriving back to his father, and you see the silhouette of his father, who's basically like, did you get the sword? And he's like, no, I didn't get the sword. He's like, did they send a message to me? And the guy says, his words were well known in his realm. He relayed their meaning to me. They are kind of a battle cry of his people during a time of great historical unrest against a ruler. And the father slams his hands down. He's like, what were his words? Just tell me. And the guy's like, come and take it. And it's just like, and then you see the father, and he's just like built out of like stars and stuff.
Yeah.
And like
that feels very like old Marvel.
Feels like Infinity
looks like Thanos
War.
type
yeah,
stuff.
Marvel Infinity War, the classic art from
like the old Infinity War.
Yeah, the
just
classic
floating
one.
in space.
Well, and just like that, the inside of his cloak is just like outer space. Like, I love that style.
Yeah, it's very good, man. I gave this one an 8 out of 10 though, because I really enjoyed it.
Only an 8?
Maybe 8.5 even.
I was thinking 8.5 or 9.
I was gonna say I'd give it a 9 easy. My favorite thing too is just like the old man is just such an old man, and he's just walking around with his gut just
overweight,
out.
just
just
long stringy hair.
And this hit me at a really good time because I just finished watching a show on Netflix called The Ranch, which is like, if you've seen that 70s show, it's basically like half the cast of that show. So picture that 70s show if the theme instead of 70s was like dudes living on a ranch in Texas. Like it's just a sitcom with like Ashton Kutcher and Hyde, and
Oh, interesting.
But it's really funny actually. And picture that '70s show if they could say fuck and like curse and stuff. So it's kind of weird because it's the first time I've ever seen a show with a laugh track where they're all shows swearing and R-rated stuff.
That's interesting.
But I digress. It leads back to the country theme of this, which hit me at a really good time because I was already kind of in that mode where. Like that was a really good show to watch while I was drawing and shit, and so this was a really good read after that. But, I love the artwork, man. Really, really beautiful artwork. A lot of texture to the artwork. It feels like. Yeah,
it's a nice style. It reminds me a little bit of Greg Capullo's. Like, I mean, it's not him, obviously, and it clearly isn't. But it feels similar to him with like a lot of the detail and the line work.
Yeah, but it's very also gritty. Like
I feel like Capullo's a little gritty.
No, he is. No, yeah, I know, but he's not this gritty.
No.
I'm sorry. Maybe the word I'm looking for is texture. There's just a lot of. There's a lot of like.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of stippling brushes here where they're like where they're using
with
brushes.
The shading and their faces,
and a lot of tiny dots and stuff.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but to me, like this looks like it was inked traditionally.
Nice.
And that's kind of like, I think, brings in a little more grittiness because I think that's one big thing you can tell. Even with brushes, like things that are so perfect that's usually digital. Even if you use like a grunge brush, you can usually tell.
Yeah. I think one thing that I really liked about this too is my first job was in a nursing home as a dietary aide in an Alzheimer's unit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I mean, I was 14. I don't talk about it a whole lot. It was like half a lifetime ago.
Jeez, man, 14 years old. That's a.
No, I was 15. Anyway,
I worked at Arby's.
There you go. Well, my second job was
delicious.
Quiznos. So
this is like total
kind of a
Sorry.
downgrade there, Dex.
Back to. But when I worked in a nursing home, I kind of got to know a lot of the Alzheimer's patients and kind of just how Alzheimer's works, essentially. And so like kind of going through, especially when this guy was like, was just like, so if I give up the sword, like, will I go back to the way I was? And just like, I remembered my wife dying. I just relived that today for the first time. I should never have to forget that or forget who my wife is and have to relive that like ever again. And then the guy was just like, yeah, that's really horrible. And nobody should have to live through that. And then I hate to ask you to give the sword up, but I need to ask you to give the sword up. Yeah. And just the fact that the guy wouldn't, and then like that he's willing to fight these gods. And they even kind of like, they kept saying like, you have no use for the sword. You have no battle to fight. You don't need a sword that can kill anything. And the guy was just like, but I do. Like, I need to keep my memory. And I think it just kind of hit me deep in everything that I've ever experienced with an Alzheimer's patient, just like that, what you would give up just to keep your mind and your family and being able to communicate and be a human being, essentially.
Well, and he also goes into saying that it's there's ownership to it too. He said these thoughts and memories belong to me.
Yeah, that was what I remembered. He was like, my wife, I remembered her dying, and that was like,
sucks,
that sucks. That was a really painful memory, really, but. That's my fucking memory. That belongs to me. I should have the ability to relive that memory. Yeah,
that part stuck with me more than anything. I mean, we've all been through like messed up stuff in our lives. Some more than others, and those are yours. Those are the fabric of what makes you you. So I definitely get that. That's kind of cool though.
That's an interesting thought too, because I think a lot of times I dwell on like kind of a lot of negative memories sometimes, and I wish that I didn't have to remember them. But it's interesting to think about how, like actually owning it, and I think that's something I know I struggle with, like is remembering like you are who you are today because you were a jackass that one time.
Right.
Yeah. Dude, I think about that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of cool. Like this comic, it was a pretty simple read. Like I read through it pretty quickly, just right before I came here.
Fast read.
Yeah, but it's interesting just how deep it was for being such a fast read.
Yeah,
and just everything that there is to think about it, and just thinking about like what it is, what you would give up to be able to be who you are. I guess
just for the simplest things. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so simple.
It kind of reminds me of. Have you guys seen the movie Legion?
Where
No, where the guy's out in the gas station in the middle of the night.
Oh, he was an angel, and they come fighting him.
The guy who plays Vision is like the angel.
Yeah. I forget his name right now.
Isn't that supposed to be like one of the worst movies in the world?
No, it's awesome.
It's actually not bad.
I've heard really bad stuff.
That movie's amazing. What are you? No way, dude. That movie's
That's just what I heard. I'm just saying that's what I heard.
Dexter's gonna have some homework.
Yeah, man, you gotta watch that.
Gotta watch it.
It's really good. I enjoyed it.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, so it just reminds me of that though, in the sense of like. These guys are out in the middle of nowhere in Texas, and they got a world of hurt coming to them.
It's always Texas, man.
Always Texas.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Because there's nothing going on.
Yeah, nothing at all.
I mean, it could be anywhere kind of west of Texas too, I suppose. But
oh, by the way,
everyone knows where Texas is.
Creative team on this story was Story was Donnie Cates, art was Jeff Shaw, Jason Wardy, and John Hill. And going back to oh, never mind. Sorry. I wrote down creative team for all the books we covered, but I didn't get Violent Love. So yeah,
you're fine.
Sorry, I didn't realize we were covering that one. So
it happens.
But star rating looks like we're sitting at about 8 and 9 for all.
Yeah, I'd say 9.
This one,
it was good.
Yeah, cool.
I can only imagine how much better it's going to get.
It better.
Nice.
You want the payoff too?
Better.
So, speaking of payoff, if you want to pay us off. You can.
That's a great transition.
I don't know how that sounded kind of weird, actually. If you want to,
so we don't let all your secrets out.
Leave the money in the brown bag by the stairs.
Yes, you can do that, or you can visit www.patreon.com/IndieComicNinja, and there you'll find all sorts of awesome rewards, including.
There's some sticker packs. I think you can get the shirt. And the stuff we record after we record this.
Yep, but wait, there's more. There's also the what that we record after this.
The post show.
The post show.
That's what I meant. The Patreon post show. That's what we call it.
Dude, we need to get a $5 for somebody to do like a cool like old school ad for us or something like sticker bags.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, we're too cheap for that. But hey, if you guys donate,
we
to
need
us,
more
maybe
patrons.
We'll get fake commercials for ourselves.
And listen to this.
You give and we'll take. So wait. Anyway. No.
Phrasing.
Oh no!
No, that was terrible. I'm sorry.
We have taken into consideration a couple suggestions by our patrons on Patreon for the books that we've read,
which have been great.
Yeah, and Kevin, I am Kevin. Please love did request another book, so we for that we should cover. I don't remember what it is, but.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah, yeah, man. Though seriously, like, thank you guys so much for the people that do donate. I mean, we're more than happy to give this like the hour-long Indie Tuesday show for free. We're more than happy to give out the interviews we do with creators for free. But you know, for those who do want to go the extra mile or whatever, we do a little extra show for you guys. Just some little some
like a 1940s voice.
Yeah.
Join the Indie Comic Ninja fan club.
Yep, there we go.
You too.
Maybe we just need to have Mondo do it.
Yeah, dude, I
think so.
Are on point,
oh man.
Oh, nice.
All right, so now that I'm done.
So what else do we have
on that? We got Green Valley. No.
Well, I just wanted to get a quick synopsis. It's one I'd mentioned before, but I finally finished it on my plane ride.
Sure.
So I read Gemini.
Yeah,
and the reason I read it is because it's one of my favorite artists, John Somariva, and he's working on the TMNT and Batman mashup that I think.
Crossover,
yeah,
the
crossover.
IDW thing.
Yeah, and he kind of started with like the Sean Galloway, Scotty Young crew, like they're kind of tight somehow. And so anyway, I love his art, so I wanted to check it out. And I can't remember the writer for the life of me right now, so I think it's Ray.
I'll get that for you while you're talking about it.
Okay, so yeah. But I finally finished it, and it was cool, man. Like, so it's worth the art alone just to see him work. And it's cool because I think this is one of his earlier comics that he's done. So it was cool just to see some of his progression. And
so it's an older one? Or
I think it's
pretty old, yeah. I had to go back in the archives.
Yeah, it's not like crazy old, but it may be like 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
He just the reason I saw it was that he would mention it on Twitter like a couple months ago, and he was just saying like the volume came out because I think it was released as a series.
Okay.
But this is one of those, man, where like I think the overall story was cool because it was basically it's your classic superhero. This dude's a superhero, but he doesn't know he's a superhero, and so he's kind of being controlled by this company and so he kind of lives 2 lives that he doesn't know about, and so he has like handlers who kind of like tell him what to do, and the story basically just happens where he ends up, one of his handlers wants to like thinks it's awful that they're doing this to him, and so she kind of tries to get him out of the program and make him basically into one. So it kind of revolves around that, and he eventually splits into 2 personalities, into 2 people, because he has some like regenerating power, and so it's cool. That's kind of where it ends off, like, you know, spoiler alert. But
dude, this art is so you.
Dude, it is so me. I'm
like, did Andrew draw this?
No, I wish.
Like, dude, like seriously.
Yeah, he's one of my biggest influences.
I started this actually one week because I thought Ben picked it, and then I just didn't go back to it. I just didn't get a chance to get back to it. This looks really cool, though.
So he's this like red and black guy?
Yeah, so and it's cool because they put in, so I read some of the like the post book like interview, and he showed some of his process about designing the character itself, and he had some feedback, I guess, that when the one he'd first designed was like too generic or something.
Yeah, it is kind of generic looking.
Yeah, no, he is kind of generic looking, and some of the other characters are like, some of them are really cool, but some of them are pretty generic. So, sorry, that was me tapping on my chair.
Okay, I thought that
he looked at me, so I was like, "What?"
I thought someone was knocking on the door.
That's my bad. So this is one of those where, like, the overall story I thought was actually really cool, like the arc of it and just like the thoughts of it, but like the actual dialogue was really pretty dry and generic. So like it sucks because I want to just like absolutely love this book, but you know, it's kind of I'd give it like a 7 as a rating, just because I mean, I love John Somariva. I'm going to read everything he does, but
so Jay Farber is the writer.
Okay.
And then FCO Placencia is the colorist, which that is... FCO Placencia is actually... Oh, that's a person. Never mind. I thought that was like a company. Well, because there's that company you'll see every now and then, like, Blonde colored this, and it's like...
That's not a person.
Blonde isn't a person. It's just like a company. So,
Weird.
All right, cool. So moving on here, I just pressed the pause button just so that we can make that non-fluid. I had to unplug my router and plug it back in.
But we're back.
Good story, bro. Anyway, Motor Crush number 3, maybe?
Yeah.
You want to cover that, Andrew?
Well, so...
Did you read this one?
I had not, and I really wanted to, but I did see... I wanted to mention there's an artist by the name of Craig Knowles, and he did a version of Domino. And it was just really cool. So, you know, check him out. He's a British dude. Does like he was on Tank Girl.
Okay.
But he just did a version of Dom.
Like
that
a
I thought was
reimagining
really cool.
of her, like in his version of
her?
her?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So if you're familiar with his style, it's pretty neat.
Did you guys see John Wick 2 yet?
Oh, hell yeah.
Not yet.
That shit was great.
Did you guys see Split yet?
Yep. Yeah.
No.
Good
Dude,
too.
I can't watch that movie.
What?
Batman Lego movie?
Oh, please do it.
Split?
Yes,
What
I saw
is
some of
Split?
that.
I've not even heard of this.
Okay, so in the post show, we'll talk about new movies.
Okay.
Me and Mondo will talk a little bit about, because I got
Split was
so
so
many
good.
words. Oh, dude.
It was so good. And
We-
usually M. Night Shyamalan, not to go on a tangent, but
it's-
his stuff is hit or miss, and it pisses me off.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Shyamalan's new movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't
Yeah.
know it was until I saw it, like, it started up in the theater. I was like, what?
And there's a spoiler there that we don't want to
Right.
give anyone. So
Okay. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
A little tease for the post, right?
Yep. So, Motor Crush number 3 by Babs Tarr, Brendan Fletcher, and Cameron Stewart. And they didn't really divide up art, story, anything like that. I don't have a huge understanding of, like, enough to where, like, I can recap this, like, play for play or anything. Sorry, I'm looking for it right now. Oh, here it is.
Where is it? Is it in the file?
Yeah, February 8th. So it came out on February 8th. But yeah, Motor Crush, this our main protagonist, I forget her name. But she
Domino?
Domino Swift.
Domino
right?
Swift, yep.
Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah,
Or
so
Cricket?
or cricket, yeah, otherwise known as Cricket on the streets. So in the hard knock world. So yeah, anyway, so she's just having more hijinks basically. Like, it kind of shows her getting her ex-girlfriend to help her out again. Kind of going through like more street racing hijinks. This is going to be a really loose recap. It basically ends up to where like there's this big illegal street race at the end where she crashes, and it looks like she's not going to be able to pay this bet off that she made with the local gangsters or whatever. And she's like going through physical withdrawal from this motor crush drug. She's like, I can't finish the race. I don't have any crush. I can't get through it. So she's crashed on the street, about to lose this race. These guys are gonna these gangsters are gonna own her, and then this random like mystery dude in a black suit shows up and a black helmet and flips some crush over her way, and gives her some drugs and was like, I know what you really are, and it's to be continued. Sorry, that was a terrible recap. But
what is he really?
I got the gist.
Yeah, I mean, there's basically a mystery guy who's helping her out that gave her the motor crush she needs, and I'm interested to find out who this is. I don't think it's going to be a regular character. Who else read this?
No? I read the first two. I don't see it in Drive.
I don't see it either.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shit.
That might explain.
Yeah, I was
a
like,
little bit.
That was one that I've been wanting to follow, so I feel like I would have read it. But
yeah,
I didn't think it was one of the ones we were reading.
Review copies 2/8/17. What's it called? Motor Crush.
Yeah.
Motor Crush.
Is it number 3 or 4?
3.
3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not in there. Wow. Sorry, guys.
It's all good.
Well, it was good though. I mean, it's not great or anything.
I feel like it sounds like it's picking up.
It is a little bit. I don't know, man. I have a hard time with some of the artwork on this one. Honestly, it's good.
Is it just too gestural, or
it's too gestural? I think is the problem. I'm really getting into like the clean, playful type. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say it's bad artwork. It's just not my thing, really.
Yeah.
But
well, they kind of flirted in the previous 2 issues. They kind of flirted with something that was a little too loose for me, but they still managed to keep it in check. So,
tie it up.
Yeah.
Although, man, there's some things that I love about the art too. I mean, like some of these like Muppet style like street racers. I mean, it's super creative. I'll never say the artwork's bad. I think one problem I have with it is it's very busy. Like all these like touch here to continue.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I think that crowds up a story, and it just makes it drags for me like to see that stuff.
Same. I don't like that with part of this story either. And I love the creative team, Babs Tarr and Cameron Stewart. Like
they're great.
They're amazing. Like I love their artwork, but like I think that stuff detracts from it because I just don't think it pushes the story forward. It's just it feels cheap.
And it feels busy. Yeah, cheap and busy is what it feels like.
Yeah, and I think just the more I hear about this comic too, the more I feel like I would like to watch it as a movie.
Exactly, or TV show or something.
Yeah, and I feel like those elements of where the click here stuff
that may
would
come
be cool as like on a show, like where it pops up in the corner.
Come through video wise, like on something it would pop and it would definitely serve it better. But in a book form, it's too much for your eyes to kind of take it all in, and you're looking everywhere. And,
maybe that's the future of AR, though. You go to a street race and you can pull up like racer stats. That'd be kind of cool.
Unless they're gonna make comics digital in the future, where they actually like dance.
You can actually do that.
You.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
that kind of stuff would be kind of cool. Though.
That reminds me. For a little while there, it was during like the last Phoenix Force thing that Marvel did, when a bunch of the X-Men basically got the Phoenix Force. But they had this thing, and whenever there was like a little icon in the corner of a panel, you could get your phone if you had the app and get it on there, and then it'd play like a little video for you on your phone.
Oh, that's cool.
That was kind of cool. So it'd be kind of interesting if you could kind of integrate stuff like that with your phone.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting if they did that and none of us realized, but
I know that'd be kind of funny. We're like, why does it say touch here? Like, download the app.
But that could be interesting, I guess. Then, because then, like, if you had an app, because I know with Marvel, I don't think they do it anymore. I don't really buy Marvel anymore, so maybe they do, and they just don't talk about it as much on social media. But like, I kind of enjoyed that.
See, that would be awesome in this book, and I think that would come through way better.
Because then, like, you could get like, if you could look up then the bios of like all the racers like in an app on your phone. That would be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
I don't know if it'd be like cost effective.
Kind of how they do it with movies. I mean, they do it for Blu-rays and stuff.
Well,
attach
video
your Blu-ray
games.
to that too. Yeah, attach your Blu-ray to the internet, and then you can have like over here. This is how this director did this scene. That kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that kind of thing could be cool, especially if you're interested in that stuff. Why
so,
not?
Image, if you do this, you owe us money.
Yep.
This is copyrighted indie comic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I think we're probably going to do like an hour and 15-minute, hour and 30-minute episode today because we're 45 minutes in and we still haven't gotten to our graphic novel. So we're covering 2 weeks worth of content though, so it's just going to be a bit of a longer episode today.
And as the listeners, you deserve it.
You deserve it. Yes, you do. That and more.
True story.
Speaking of things they deserve, today is a busy day for me of podcasting. I did an interview with Andrew.
With Ryan Burke this morning. He's
Burke,
a Missouri-based writer.
Well, British.
Well, British.
First,
that he
but
just moved here like 7 months ago.
So it's going to be enjoyable to listen to.
Yeah, it would be right. Yeah, no. Please edit that out.
Governor.
Now that you've asked, he's not going to. You know that, right?
Yeah,
and
that's the rule.
We'll probably be posting that today.
I'm not professional editing. I push the record button and I push the post button. That's
I believe.
all I know how to do.
I don't believe in editing, honestly.
Yeah.
But we'll be probably posting that today. So if you haven't listened to it, it'll be the episode before this episode that you're currently listening to.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then we had this podcast that I recorded. Then we're doing the post show here. Then we're doing Glitch Therapy and the Glitch Therapy post show, which I'm not on, but I run sound for. Then we're recording Nerd Church Radio tonight, and then my wife and I are interviewing the creators of Arrow Comics after that.
See how hard Ben is working for you guys.
Literally like 10 hours of podcasting today. I pushed it all to one day. So, it'll be fun.
I feel like you should be queuing up that song. Every day I'm hustling, hustling.
More like one day of the week I'm hustling.
One day of the week I'm hustling.
The one day you're supposed to be relaxing on Sunday.
I'm doing 7 days of work.
He's doing the good Lord's work, baby.
Yeah.
He's getting it ready for you.
As long as you get paid. Oh, wait.
Although, Nerd Church Radio just got a second, another patron today, so I think that makes 4 or 5 for us.
Oh, nice, yeah.
We're good to go now though, so we're actually like making money on that one. So we're getting closer here. So anyway, so let's see. Now we just have Green Valley number 5 left. Story on that's by Max Landis. Arts by Cliff Rathburn, Giuseppe Commensali, and Jean-Francois Bouillet.
Way to work through those names, man. That was impressive.
Look at you. Stepping your game up.
Yep.
I like it.
You want to cover that one for us, Monday?
Oh, man. I'm trying to remember back to how it even got started.
It's been a while.
Because I read it a while back, a week ago.
I just read it this morning.
For me, it was like a week ago. Let me get back into it. So basically, they're looking for, quote unquote, the wizard. So, air quotes on that, the whole thing. So they're going through the bushes and whatnot. They're having a little bit of dialogue with each other, talking about, their past exploits. And I forget his name. He was talking about the dragon. Yeah.
Cyril the wizard?
Yep.
Yeah, there it is, Cyril the Wizard. So they're looking for him, and they come upon like a big. This looks like a ship or a time machine or something, just big mechanical thing. And the wizard, he's upset because he has to keep feeding this machine like different parts and
metal,
electronics and metal. Yeah. In order for him to get out of this world and go to the next place he needs to get to, or so he can leave.
Yeah.
And so he's really upset, and he's having a moment. And doesn't realize they're there, and they just pop up and scare the crap out of him, and they have
punch him in the face.
Yep. So they have a little bit of dialogue and some arguing. Prior to that, though, I skipped over a part. They had to finish fighting off those dinosaurs.
Yeah, that was like the raptor battle was super fun to watch.
Yeah.
When the guy's oversized helmet kind of came into play.
Yeah,
and I love that so much. Like his helmet, that didn't fit right.
Saved his life.
Yeah, like foreshadowing that we didn't even realize was going to happen, but. Yeah, he gets his head bit, and the helmet saves him from that, and so they get rid of the dinosaurs and fight them off, and then that comes where they run into Cyril, and that's where the issue comes up, where they get into a little bit of a battle with him. He's trying to leave. I don't know. It was crazy. I might need a little bit of assistance remembering some of the rest of it though.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm pulling it up here. I got too much going on. So is Cyril dead?
The wizard?
No,
he's
not
the
Cyril.
wizard.
What's his name?
Oh, the friend?
No, the main guy.
Oh no, he's still alive.
Well, he got
he gets sucked into like a vortex or some crap.
I don't know, man. This looks a lot like dying to me.
Let me see.
This very last page where his skeleton's like disintegrating and stuff. Now he may be transported somewhere, but that looks like he might be dying.
Like the main knight,
because he falls into that red hole, that like that dimensional portal thing, and then it happens. Like he zaps him. I don't know. It's really.
It looks like that skeleton's screaming.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. So that was the main like big thing that stuck out to me was he got pushed into one of these portals and looks like he might be dying.
And then they pull a T-Rex comes out of nowhere, and that's where it kind of ends. But
oh dang,
yeah. So we kind of learn a little bit more about Cyril's plight and his issue, what he's dealing with. He's taking like he pulls some artifacts off the ship. And he's like, fine, I'll feed it to you because, he's talking to the ship or the portal or whatever it is he's trying to. And you see like down into like a storage unit that has a bunch of like artifacts like from like Egyptian like pharaoh stuff and just stuff from the past. You can see, and he pulls a whole sarcophagus out and drags it down the stairs like he's going to toss it into this thing for fuel or something. It's I don't know. It's weird. It kind of gives a little more insight to that whole situation. But
I personally. I really enjoy the artwork on this.
Same.
Like if I were to draw, like Andrew, you have kind of a style where you disproportionate people's features and stuff. If I were to draw comics, like this is probably what would end up happening if I put the time in because I'm more into like super realistic. Yeah. Like I don't exaggerate features and stuff.
It's really insane to me when somebody can turn a character like that. I mean, you almost have to have a full model sheet. And for me, like if I had to draw something like this, I'd have to have like a full model sheet in order to get all the faces to look right in every single angle, Like it's crazy that, looking at somebody from a 3/4 behind view, you still know exactly who it is. Like that's when you know that you have a solid artist on your hand.
Yeah, man, I don't know. Just the art is what nailed it on this for me. The humor. I don't know, man. I'm tempted to. I think like 9 out of 10 on this one for me. What do you think, Mondo?
I think I'm pretty close to that as well. I'd say 9.5.
Okay.
Plus Raptors, dude. Raptors.
Yeah. I like how he pulled the gun out too because it's a combination of like this crazy past mashup with like futuristic stuff. Like he's having a knife, like a sword battle, and he pulls out like a Glock.
Yeah.
And he shoots him in the shoulder. It's like, if you were the guy with the sword from like the from the past, you're like, what the fuck was that?
What? Yeah.
What? This shit burns. What is that? You just
the hell, man.
What is this you hit me with?
I mean, he's already like blasted people with an iPad. I guess a gun probably isn't too surprising.
But can you imagine having your mind blown, being the dude from the past, like seeing all this tech, and you're just like, what the fuck is this? Like we gotta run. I don't know. Yeah, it was good. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that mashup.
I'm kind of interested to see if he's gonna wake up in another
time.
Yeah, like how that's.
I think he will.
The night, or
they don't actually show him die. They just kind of leave it kind of ambiguous.
It seems like it would be really difficult to kill. I mean, this is like our main squeeze right here, like main character. So I don't know. It'd be interesting if they killed him off.
Pull a Game of Thrones on him.
Yeah, I just don't see that happening on issue 5.
Pull a Ned Stark off the bat.
I don't know. I mean, we've been reading like Reborn.
Game of Thrones.
Some people listening will hear it and be like, motherfucker.
Well, and we've been reading Reborn, where like they just kill people off that are pretty cool left and right.
That's true. Yeah, they introduce him in same like panel.
Yeah,
it's like bye.
Or like the cat, who's like gonna be like a sweet boss like throughout the whole story. Yeah. He's like, nope, he's dead. Oh,
he slipped on a bar of soap and broke his neck. Like what?
Slipped on some ice, got pneumonia, and died a week later.
Yeah, what was that from?
That was President Garfield.
Oh, okay.
He was president for like a week. Slipped on some ice like during his inauguration, I think. Or so not president for like a week.
Yeah.
Well, he was like for a week, I guess, but he slipped on the ice during his inauguration, I think.
It's a horrible way to go. It's like you're celebrating and then nope.
And then he got like really sick and died.
I thought you were referencing that Tom Hardy movie where they were like moonshine runners.
Oh,
and he gets his throat cut. He gets shot. All these things, and he doesn't die. He falls into like a lake.
We talked about that
at waist level. Comes out and gets pneumonia and dies.
Yeah, I think we talked about that last time.
Yeah, we did. Bullshit. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Anyway.
I digress.
So we are just about at the hour mark, which gives us a good 30 minutes or so to talk about Black Science Volume 1.
It was so good.
Such a good story.
Story by Rick Remender, art by the talented Matteo Scalera.
What else has Scalera done?
I don't know.
You just said he was talented. I assumed you.
Well, this was a recommendation, by the way, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think Kevin from Patreon.
Well, also,
thank you, Kevin, for that.
Brian also mentioned that it was good as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think just anyone who's read it knows that it's good.
Thanks for the recommendation, guys, because this was delightful.
For real.
Fantastic. This is a comic that I started picking up when it first came out, just because it was Remender's name on it. And I read like the first issue and loved it, and then it stayed in my pull list, and I just kept buying it, but not having the time to read it. And so I have like the first like 20 issues, I think.
Oh, and no shit.
Well, I'm missing like issue 7 for some reason, but
that happens to me so much, man.
Yeah,
it's like you brought it to work one day and
something
just got lost.
Well, I think it was I moved and then I hadn't quite set up my pull list to the next place yet, and I think I missed like a week there.
Man, dude, this artist just—I'm looking.
It's unbelievable.
I'm looking at his deviant art right now, and
it's fantastic art. So, who wants to give a rundown?
Dude,
I don't know. Like,
it's juicy.
It's
you might have to tag team this.
Yeah, we can't really give like a full recap of 180.
Just do like a high level like
essentially. Okay, so essentially what it is they're anarchist scientists, whatever that means. Yep. So basically,
is that what they're called? Anarchist scientists?
That's what they refer to themselves as. Yeah. So basically, it's a bunch of punks that are super smart and are scientists, and they're hired by this guy to develop a machine to travel between dimensions. Essentially,
yeah, they call it the Onion.
The Onion, yeah. So like all the parallel universes, rather than just being parallel, they're actually like concentric circles going out,
layered on top of
which
each
is
other.
really interesting. And then like the guy's kid even asks like, so what's in the middle? Is that God? And he's like, well, God doesn't exist, but it's probably the beginning of everything and the closest we can get.
They couldn't have called it like the parfait or the
what?
They're layered too. Like
like a parfait, I suppose.
Why
that's not as cool
food again?
Maybe.
I'm starving.
Maybe,
I mean, I just texted my wife and was like, "Can you go get me a cheeseburger?"
Maybe more like a cake.
Give me one.
Cakes are layered.
Yes, please.
Okay.
On the podcast, continue, Dexter.
So anyway, yeah. So they start.
You want to hear? You guys want to hear us take our food orders really quick?
Anyway, so the guy brings in his kids. Which he's cheating on his wife with one of the other scientists. So the wife doesn't want to come in, but his kids come in to look at the machine, and I think they got into like some suits, and I think he was gonna like jump them to a parallel dimension and then just jump right back.
Yeah.
But somebody had sabotaged the machine. And the guy who funded it, or at least got the funding, is like running in. He's like, "Hey, get away from that!" And then they all get transported to another dimension, which is there's a bunch of like weird frogs and fishes having a war.
Yeah.
And it turns out that somebody sabotaged the machine, and that they can't go back, and they can't control when it will jump next.
Yeah. They're just like jumping through dimensions.
Yeah.
I summed it up when I was telling my wife about it as saying it's kind of like a really futuristic version of Quantum Leap.
Dude, 100%. That's exactly what
Have you ever
I've never seen Quantum Leap.
What?
It's basically this, but more like Sliders.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
I mean, this is almost exactly Sliders, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know Sliders.
Who's the guy in it?
Talking fruit again?
Jerry O'Connell. Jerry
I want
O'Connor.
some sliders.
Oh yeah. It's the guy from.
I can't remember.
I think it's Jerry O'Connell is the guy's name. He's a handsome dude. He was the fat kid from Stand By Me.
Okay, yep, that's him.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he's like a smart kid in college, and he develops a dimensional sliding device.
Gotcha.
And the funny thing about that one is like, so I think his girlfriend is like comes to talk to him at the same time that he sets the device off. His professor, he's showing his professor, and then there's like this soul music singer just driving by, and since like his car, the metal in it like got pulled into like the like vortex that it created. So like there's just like this random like goofy guy that's with them. And so yeah, it's like this super smart kid, a professor, his the kid's girlfriend, and then this random singer, like semi-famous singer guy. But yeah, it's a good show. It used to be on Netflix.
I've never seen that.
Sorry, we don't
have
Sliders.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Sliders.
And they even quote that it's basically like Quantum Leap, but he can't get home either.
Yeah. There's something because like in that one, it's if you slide to another dimension and then slide again, it doesn't remember the last place you were at, or like the 2 places back. It only remembers the 1 place back, so he can't. Like basically, they just keep sliding, hoping to get back to their home dimension, and obviously they never do. Well, they might at the end. I guess I didn't watch the last season.
Okay,
it was in the 90s though. It's great.
Yeah.
And so back to the comic.
Yeah.
Well, that though, like, that was really my only knock on this. Is that when you get into those types of like dimensional warps and things like that, like this almost can't have an ending.
And I
I don't like.
Okay. Well,
like
the
sometimes
thing with this one though is as long as they know the address, they can get back to their home.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how they're ever going to figure out the address. I suppose because like they ends up running into like another version of himself.
And that
like,
was
that guy knows his home address, but like he's not going to know their home address.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Well, and that's why because it's an infinite type of like.
Yeah.
I don't think you really need a grander ending. It's a lot about character drama and like how you're going to end that character's story.
And that was what I thought was really great, and was that character development on it.
Yeah.
It feels like Walking Dead in that sense, where they could keep it going for as long as they want to. But,
Yeah.
but the story isn't about the zombies, which some people like when they first hear about it, like, oh, I don't want like zombies. It's like, okay, don't get ahead of yourself. It's not about zombies.
It's
the
about
zombies
the
are the
characters.
they're the backdrop.
and
it's the characters.
And
That
this
was
isn't
the-
really about dimensional jumping.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
the
kind of
characters.
order versus chaos, right? In there.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Like I was talking about earlier, with the ranch is like the being on the ranch or that 70s show being in the 70s.
It's just the
that's
backdrop.
just the backdrop.
Yeah.
for,
It's
like,
always about the people.
I mean,
and
we're
their
always
Well-
just connecting with the humans in the story.
Do you guys remember there was a movie with the guy who's the dude? You're getting Adele. You remember that guy? Okay.
Oh,
He was, okay. He was in this movie about punks, and he had this really big blue mohawk.
Oh.
SLC Punk?
Yeah,
SLC Punk.
Yeah.
So in that movie,
movie.
whole movie, I'm gonna spoil this for anybody who's not seen it, but so he's just like he has this argument
edge.
about like order versus chaos with another professor, and he's basically saying like there is no order, there's just chaos, and then the professor's argument is saying like, well, there's order within that chaos, and so anyway, at the very end of it, he ends up becoming a lawyer to try to tear the system down or whatever. But it reminds me of these characters because like the science professor or the main character scientist who's like developed this
I forget
portal.
his name.
I don't remember.
He has that
Mitch?
Maybe.
something like
It was
Keep going, I'll look it up.
Kadir was the bad guy.
Kadir was. I remember that. Yeah, but
Sorry.
anyway, he's sort of like this anarchist type, and he's also grown into something that he actually despises, and he kind of has this hatred towards. Kadir is kind of the opposite, where he's very put together. He's very much represents order, and so
Right.
it's just. I think the two of them, how they fight, is sort of the underlying like story, and the thing that really drove it for me, I guess.
Well, and
Yeah.
it's interesting too because it starts off with that guy being the villain and then the main scientist being the quote unquote hero, and so then you think basically that like so now it's just the point like the guy developed the technology to go to these other dimensions and get resources to make our home dimension better.
Yeah.
But then like you find out that from running into himself from the other dimensions that like it's only created like bad things
Right.
Yeah.
for the creator.
His name is Grant, by the way.
Grant.
Yeah, Grant was it. So we just paused a second time so my wife could take her food order and you guys wouldn't have to listen to it.
So anyway, like what I was saying though was, the beginning, the guy created the device to get stuff to make our world better, and the other guy was funding it. And so then we find out in the middle-ish of the story from the Grant from a different dimension that the villain guy that we think is the villain is the one who sabotaged it. And in every dimension, he's always the one who sabotaged it. And so then you're just like, why would this jackass do that?
I don't know if he was just saying like it always leads back to him. It's
Yeah,
always
yeah,
him. But
yeah.
I don't know if it's directly Kadir that sabotaged.
I suppose, yeah.
Like he did, didn't he?
But-
we found out.
Yeah,
that
we
was
find
him.
But
out.
it's
Okay.
it's interesting. The reason why is because he's just like, this device can never bring good. It's never going to do what you say it's going to do. It's always just going to screw people up. So so then you find out the whole reason why he got the funding for it was one, he didn't think it was going to happen, but then just in case it did, then he was going to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the whole purpose.
Like he was betting
Yeah.
against him the whole time. Like,
Yeah.
He was like, I didn't think you'd actually pull it off.
Well,
But-
it's crazy that this
but-
is played out in every single dimension, though.
Yeah, which is interesting, I think. But,
yeah.
Well, and then it's funny, too, because they go to that one dimension where it's like all like orangutans or something, and there's even like the orangutan version, and he even destroys
like,
the machine in that one by tripping over the cord.
I'm excited to see Kadir's like blonde-haired girl. I'm excited to see what happens with her being possessed.
She's not possessed. He is, I thought.
No,
she is. Yeah. So she gets possessed by the orangutan
when they burst. When they because he
what was the guy's name again?
He burst that plants in that nursery area, and they weren't trying to protect the nursery like the babies. They were trying to protect the plants that had these glowing like lights in them.
Yeah,
which are the souls of like the others or something.
Yeah. So like all the babies were actually like lifeless bodies that then when the plants burst,
were ready.
Spirits kind of like went into the babies.
I was thinking too, though,
they
like
were vessels.
Since that's where Grant he's been smashed there. Like, I'm wondering if he's going to become part of that spirit thing and be able to continue on somehow.
Oh, yeah. Well, but then, so the monkey Grant, though, went into the lady.
Right, yeah.
So there's still a Grant with them, but they just don't realize it, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in case you didn't catch that, Grant dies.
At the very end,
he gets smashed by the device, I think.
But we don't know. But we don't know if he's dead because he's still alive.
They leave him, though.
The interesting thing was so they got in that second dimension that they go to, there's like a war between the Germans and Native Americans.
Yeah,
and there's a shaman with like this goofy like giant pole that can just like heal people.
And he healed him.
Well, yeah. In that, like in the middle of the volume, but then at the very end of this one, the shaman just shoots it off like
shot out some birds or something.
Well, I think like you think it was to.
This is what I'm okay. So I just screenshotted you guys a text of those last 2 pages.
Right.
You guys will have to tell me. I was very confused about the very last double spread. Is like the shaman comes out of nowhere.
Well, he was with them the whole time. I think he was just kind of in the background.
Oh, that's the shaman. Okay, I forgot about
Native
the
American
shaman
guy. Yeah.
So I'm wondering though if him blasting, like it kind of looks like it's to like kind of fight
ward
back.
off an evil spirit. Right?
Yeah. But I'm wondering if he was shooting it into the general direction of Grant.
That's what I wondered too. Like because he could heal him from being smashed.
So like even though they're jumping to another dimension, Grant still has the technology with him because there's the device that they knocked over. So he could rebuild that device and then jump after them.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I thought they were going with it, just from the way that they ended it.
Yeah. I mean, and there's still like another.
I think
we're
going to see him. We'll see him again.
Yeah.
Right? I guarantee it. It's just like in a movie. If you don't see them die, they're going to come back.
If not, though, there's still the Grant with the giant scar on his face from the other dimension.
The one that came to get the kids.
Yeah.
It's just like the Flash TV show, man. I mean, do you guys watch that at all?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like
there's just a million.
God,
Barry annoys me.
No,
I know.
No, but it's like the Flash TV show where like. You really don't even worry about it if one of them dies because there's like 1,000 other Earths.
They'll find a way to fix
another
it.
Version. So that actor is always going to come back. He'll just be a different version.
He still makes me want to punch him in the throat, though.
Barry Allen.
He irritates the shit out of me
fucking
sometimes.
hate Barry Allen.
Have you seen?
He's my. I hate. If you ever listen to the DC cast, like I talk so much shit about that guy.
Have you ever seen?
I love the Flash, but he makes me mad.
Have you seen Have you seen the thing on? I think I saw it on Instagram, maybe, but it has like the Civil War movie. So it has Cap and Iron Man is like, are they with you? He's like, no, I thought they were with you. And then it shows like the whole like WB whatever the CW cast, and it's and Arrow is just standing in their front. He's like, damn it, Barry.
Here's one of my favorite memes is Barry Allen putting his finger to his head and saying she can't put you in the friend zone if you keep changing the timeline until she loves you.
It sounds about right.
That's like he just messes everyone's lives.
I gotta save my mom, guys.
And I think though that's the dangers of just this type of story.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like nothing matters in this story because there's infinite possibilities.
But I kind of like that because then you run into things where it's like frogs and fish having a war.
Totally, yeah. Like that was like what? I love that aspect of it, but I almost feel like there can't be a satisfying ending.
I don't think that destroys the story. It just means that if people die, there's not really any gravitas to that, you know.
But it makes it harder to tie. You know, it makes it less impactful if somebody does like quote unquote die because you're like, well, did they die? Like, does this even matter?
I feel like it's going to be one of those things where they leave it, and if they ever did come to an ending, it would be really ambiguous.
Yeah.
And they would maybe tie it like, oh, he made it home. And then kind of like, what was the one with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Oh, where the top keeps spinning.
Oh, Inception.
Inception.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like an Inception kind of thing where they're going to think, oh, we got home. And then they're going to show something in the background like not be what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just
different.
that type of story.
That actually
they
happened.
didn't make it.
That happened in Sliders a lot.
Yeah.
Like he'd get home and the gate wasn't squeaky. He's like, oh, this isn't my place.
Yep. Something's weird.
Somebody fixed the gate.
Yeah. It'd be something like, oh, the house was blue. Why is it red? Or
like
why is the old man down the street not old anymore? It's a young man. Something weird. Nobody's
the Golden Gate
noticed.
Bridge is green.
Yeah. Like, damn it, I was close.
Something I do want to get to before we run out of time here is the artwork. Holy shit. The artworort was so good.
I loved it.
Yeah.
This is like probably one of my favorite things that I've read since Saga. I mean, like, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, but star rating, man, this gets a 10 out of 10 for me. It's a perfect comic book for what it is.
I'm at like I'm just at like a 9 just because I have some, questions about the story. But I mean, it's still great story, and it's the art is just fantastic.
I want this blown out into a show because a movie wouldn't do it justice.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be like a 4-hour movie, but a show would be awesome.
And dude, the pacing, like those first few panels, the way that it starts with action, which I really love because I was like, dude, I could
pull me in right away.
Yeah, if you sat down to watch this as a show, you would be sucked in. Like,
you know who I want to do this show? Guess who I want to do this show? If you could guess, like a
director of the show.
Yeah,
Joss Whedon.
No. The guy that like the people that did Firefly.
Nope. That's Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
I have no guesses.
I couldn't remember for
If you guys could pick a director.
Joss Whedon's brother?
Yes.
If you guys could pick a
The Whedon
director
brothers?
that's directed stuff like this before, who would you jump to?
Like a TV show?
I feel like it's going to be like an obvious answer, but
Kevin Smith?
It's so obvious. No. J.J. Abrams, man.
Oh,
well, yeah.
Duh.
Yeah, see?
He would do a good.
He did
Fringe,
Lost. I mean, like Fringe.
Did
Yeah,
you watch Fringe?
Yeah,
Oh my
man.
God,
He could do so much with this. It would be awesome.
No,
I'm honestly surprised that Remender hasn't gotten any like TV shows or movies.
Yeah, I was thinking that
almost guarantee he's been offered them.
He has to. Yeah. I wonder if he's just not interested.
This could easily be like, dude, this could be such a sick Netflix series or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'd be so into
perfect.
this.
Netflix would.
Somebody needs to
It
pitch
need to be Netflix or Hulu, but like something that doesn't have advertisement telling him what to do.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, guys, we gotta get the post show started just because of scheduling. Because Glitch Therapy is gonna butt right up against this, and
thanks, Glitch
I need
Therapy.
to have time to smoke a cigarette in between. So, don't smoke, kids. So, if you want to find me anywhere, I am at Indie Comic Ben on Twitter, Ben Dupay on Facebook. Or Mondo, where can we find you? Yeah, that's about it for me.
At Nerdy Ramondo on Instagram and Twitter. If you want to game with me, hit me up at Dirty Dimes on both Xbox Live and PlayStation Network.
Oh, I'm on PlayStation Network at Benzilla. That's Benzilla with 2 N's and 3 L's. Rawr.
You can find me at Andrew Southern on either Instagram or Twitter.
And on Twitter, I just started Indie Comic Dex, just so that I'm not putting my personal stuff on the Indie Comic Ninja. So find the whole, basically information for the whole show at Indie Comic Ninja, for Dexter at Indie Comic Dex.
Beautiful.
Boom.
All right, cool. And then please rate, subscribe, review, tell your friends, enemies, loved ones, hated ones, all that. Let them
Especially
know that
your
we're
enemies.
around. Especially your enemies. So,
we'll verbally slay them for you.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
with comic love.
We're going to start roasting people on air just for fun. No, but seriously, guys, please give us a review on iTunes. We didn't do an iTunes review contest for the month of February because it's a short month, but we're going to be coming in hot in March with some cool goodies for you. We got some stuff in the works I don't want to talk about yet, but yeah, so thank you, and if you want to keep listening to us, we will be on the post show.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Later.